Not long ago, I called a couple to schedule a review meeting. And you know what they said? We're not really sure what we'd even talk about. Turns out they had never had a review meeting when their money was elsewhere, even though someone else was managing their accounts. So they assumed reviews weren't that important. But once we sat down, we covered updates that were incredibly helpful for them to think about. By the end, they told me it completely changed how they saw the role of a financial advisor. That's why today, I want to walk you through the key things you should review with your advisor. These are the conversations you should be having periodically, not just once in a while, because your life and your finances are always changing. Number one, your plan and your life. These meetings should happen with some frequency because life doesn't stand still. Start with your goals. Have they changed? Retirement planning, travel, helping family. Those can shift from year to year. And don't just think about what's already happened. Talk about potential life events too. A move, a career change, buying a second home, helping kids or grandkids. These can possibly all warrant a change in your asset allocation or overall plan. And here's something many people like. Some planning software lets you test out what ifs. What if I spent $12,000 a month instead of $10,000? What if I retired a year earlier? What if I converted more to my Roth IRA? For some clients, those tools make the planning process much more interactive. Number two, investments, performance, and allocation. Let's talk investments. Yes, performance is important. You should know how your accounts did, but don't stop there. The bigger question is, am I still invested the right way for what's next in my life? For example, if you're planning a move, you may want more liquidity. If you just sold a business, you may not need as much growth risk. So yes, review your returns, but also review whether your allocation is still aligned with your goals. And here's a quick side note. Your advisor should always explain things in a way you understand. Too often in this industry, people hide behind acronyms and jargon. Terms like alpha or Sharpe ratio can sound impressive, but most of the time the underlying concept is actually very simple. A good advisor talks with you, not over you. Number three, tax planning and legislative updates. Taxes can look completely different from one year to the next, not just because of your income, but because tax laws change. Your advisor should stay well-read on the latest updates and be ready to bring up opportunities that could save you money. For example, a couple of years ago, I-bonds were paying a guaranteed annualized rate of almost 10%. That was a great opportunity for some investors. Inherited IRAs. Some beneficiaries suddenly had to start taking annual required minimum distributions when they hadn't before. Other people had their starting age for required minimum distributions pushed back, giving them more flexibility. And recently, 529 plans started allowing some savers to roll over unused money into a Roth IRA. That saved a penalty for families who might not have used all funds for education. This is the kind of thing we try to bring up in our review meetings, so you don't miss out. And if you're finding this helpful so far, make sure to hit the subscribe button. I post videos like this regularly, breaking down financial planning in plain English, so you can feel more confident about your money and your retirement. Number four, estate and legacy planning. This is an area people sometimes avoid, but it's incredibly important. Now, your financial advisor typically isn't your estate planning attorney, but here's the thing. Advisors meet with a lot of families, and they see how different estate planning scenarios actually play out. So even though they're not drafting the documents, they can have very productive conversations with you. Here are a few things to check. Are your wills, trusts, healthcare directives, and power of attorney documents up to date? Do they still reflect your wishes? Have you recently reviewed the beneficiaries on your retirement accounts, life insurance policies, and other accounts to be sure they're exactly as you want them to be? Beneficiary designations often override what's written in a will. Does your advisor keep a copy of your durable power of attorney document so they're prepared if something happens where you're alive but unable to make financial decisions? Do you have a trusted contact listed on your accounts? This is someone your advisor could reach out to if you can't be contacted directly. And finally, is your advisor coordinating with your attorney and accountant, acting like a point guard so everyone is on the same page? One investor I spoke with had everything tied up neatly: wills, trusts, POA documents, all current. But none of his cars were titled in a way that avoided probate. If he hadn't fixed it, those vehicles could have been probated despite his wishes. These are the kind of details an advisor can help bring to light. Number 5, insurance and risk management. Insurance isn't glamorous, but it's a key part of protecting your plan. Every so often, review your life insurance and long-term care coverage. Do they still fit your needs? I recently met with an investor who had an annuity from a previous advisor. On the surface, it looked solid. It had been set up to provide a decent rate of return. What they didn't realize, though, was that guarantee only lasted for a certain number of years. That period had passed, and now the annuity was only earning what the company called the guaranteed minimum, which in this case was just 1%. They were glad we brought this to their attention because the annuity no longer met their objectives. It's a good reminder. Policies and products need to be reviewed, not just bought and forgotten. Number 6, lifestyle and personal topics. This is where the numbers meet your life. What's on the horizon? Maybe you're planning a big trip, helping a grandchild with college, or buying a vacation home. Those conversations are often where the best planning ideas come from. I had one client casually mention wanting to help a grandchild with education. That turned into setting up a 529 plan, and they were able to receive a state income tax deduction for the contribution. And sometimes it's not about spending less. It's about spending more. I recently met with a client who wasn't spending much relative to the size of their portfolio. And my question to them was simple: why not? Life is about maximizing your experiences. Sometimes the most helpful thing an advisor can do is encourage you to use the wealth you've built to actually enjoy life. Number 7, clear action steps. Every review should wrap up with accountability. Here's what you'll do, here's what your advisor will do, and here's the timeline. With that kind of clarity, you walk away confident about the path forward. So next time you meet with your advisor, don't just ask, "How did my portfolio do?" Talk through your goals, investments, tax planning, estate planning, insurance, and the lifestyle updates that make your plan unique. If you found this helpful, hit that like button and subscribe to Glad You Asked. See you next time.